All right, this one's coming from Big John Wood. I'm assuming this isn't Big John Wood, the bodybuilder. Well, I guess he is a bodybuilder, but it's not John Wood from California. Anyway, your question is, when is the right time to bring on a coach, a prep coach, someone to help you? You're 33 years old, you've been training for a long time. Well, here's the thing. For me, I never used a coach until, they weren't really popular back when I was competing as an amateur. And, I found it interesting. I loved learning about my body. I loved being able to do it myself. It was something I was so proud of because every other sport I played, there was, I was a running back, there was a quarterback. There was always someone else that would take the shine, Bodybuilding is just you up on stage. That's it. You put in the hard work, the blood, the sweat, the tears in the gym, on the treadmill, on the step mill. You're the one starving yourself. And then all of a sudden some guy's going to come along and say, have a potato. Look what I did. See what I did? I made that guy. No, that's bullshit. Sorry if I... Can I swear? I'm not supposed to. Anyway. So I never liked using a coach. The thought of, my brother and I, we did it as kids. We would play around with different foods, and some shows do no cardio. Some shows we just ride my bicycle around the lake, around town. Some shows I'd eat a ton of carbs, and we would do all these different things until we figured out the right recipe to put it all together. And there's something to be said about knowing a lot about yourself, because when that day did come and I was able to work with someone, I worked with George Farah for about, for those of you who don't know George, most of you probably do. He's one of the top gurus. Nice guy, and he helped me out. And he said, Jose, you're right on the cusp. I was right there. He's like, but you can be special. Like, let me help you. Let me see what you're doing and what you're not doing. And I worked with him for a few shows, and it was good. I won a couple shows. And, when I was a kid, my brother went to college with Chris Aceto. He's a few years younger than Chris. And obviously I read about Chris in the magazines. I knew who he was. He doesn't live too far from me. And I always wanted to work with Chris. And then I got to meet him. And he was one of the coolest people I ever met, And he had a lot of respect for me and what I'd done and what I'd come from. And at first he was like, nah, man, he's real busy. He was working with another 212 guy, and he really didn't want to have a conflict. So he's like, do this next show on your own, and after the show, we'll talk and see what happens. Well, it was the New York Pro in 2012. He came to the show. He was there. I placed third. He felt not only should I have placed a little better, but he's like, with the right direction, that I could not only win but be the best. So he called me the very next day and he was like, dude, let's do this. He's like, not only should you have won that show, but he's like, you can win the Olympia. And that's what I wanted to hear, And then when I learned on how he worked, I couldn't have been happier, because you hear so many nightmare stories about these guys, you have to do this, you have to do, in order to be that big, you got to do this. And it couldn't be further from the truth. The one thing that changed the most out of anything was weighing my food. I never weighed my food. I used to always just eyeball it. And I realized that there's a huge difference between eyeballing 10 ounces and putting it on the scale, 10 ounces cooked of meat. It was almost double of what I was eating. And guess what? I end up being 10 pounds bigger over the course of the next year or so. And that was the greatest help. And also, to me, I never had a problem getting shredded. It was being full and shredded. So he knew when to say, no cardio today. I'd wake up, send him pictures, no cardio today. Right, tomorrow just do 20 minutes. Or just walk your dog around the block. I'm like, what is he? He's nuts. The show's coming up. Like, well, guess what? He saw, and that's what I needed. That's what a good coach will do. They will know exactly what you need and not let you eat yourself alive. And that's what I was doing. I would do 2 hours on the step mill every day, even when I didn't have to. And guess what? I ended up being too small, too thin, too flat. You got to have a good eye and trust that person. So the moral of the story is, I would wait until you've learned every last bit. I want to see you nail it 100% and win a show. Win a local show, whether it's the East Boston Championships or the New England Championships or the Jay Cutler Classic. Win something on your own. That way, when you get a coach, you can give them feedback and say, you know what, I don't do well eating this. I don't do well doing this. I don't, whatever it may be. I can't take this supplement. There's more feedback you can give the coach. That way you can work together. It should never be a guy telling you, you got to do this. No, you got to work as a team. You got to tell them what you're comfortable with, what you know of your body, and that way you don't have to make those same mistakes over and over again. It can save you a lot of time. So my answer is wait until you've mastered your body, then hire a professional, a proven professional who has brought someone from the local level to professional status. Don't just take someone who took, Ronnie Coleman and made him a pro. That guy was going to be a pro no matter what. Have him take someone who had struggled for year after year after year, and then boom, awesome, they're pro. That's a good coach. So that's it. Coaches aren't the end-all, be-all, man. I don't suggest anyone hire a coach. And listen, I help people. I coach people. So, I'm screwing myself telling you this. I don't think you should hire a coach. I don't think everyone should just hire a coach until you've exhausted every last effort. And truly, some people feel they have, but really, as far as supplementation, diet, cardio, training, once you know that you've mastered each one of those aspects, sleep, everything, then, and you can't get any better, then hire a coach. Until then, learn as much as you can and wait on the coach. This is the Boston Mass. Thanks again for watching. Now, if you're not subscribing, subscribe now. Tell all your friends to subscribe. If you haven't, do it now. All right?